So today we have Otto Siegel. Yes. Otto Siegel is a master certified coach and owner of Genius Coaching. He supports bright and sensitive children, young adults, and adults to overcome learning and behavior challenges. During GradFest 2017, he started longevity coaching, and today he will introduce us to the future of longevity coaching. Please help me welcome Otto Siegel.
Oh, stay. Okay. Yes, it does. Okay, thank you. It's a privilege to talk to you today, to present this topic to you. It was originally developed for a conference on the future of health. I want to call it the future of longevity coaching, because health has a strong component to mental health, has a strong component with inner game of longevity. And that's what it's going to be about. 1, 2, 3. Are we good? Technology? So I call it life after aging, because you hear life after death immediately everywhere. But life after aging, no. And I want to start with a thought-provoking approach to this. What if aging would be something like puberty? A normal phase of human development. Because until now, aging gets darker and darker and darker. And it never stops the darkness until it ends in death. That's the conventional thinking. What if there would be an interruption where the light comes through and aging would go away? We cannot age endlessly because we know the symptoms. So reversing aging, of course, fighting the symptoms of aging is the best we can do right now. I invited my audience there and here too for a radical shift in mindset. What if it would be just come to an end and then the light comes up? So let's find out if it's true. Because our mind is very strong and has its own way of going, unless my slide do the same thing. They might. They don't.
It's all about where you aim it.
Yeah, I was told here. We need to close it. Yes. So let's talk about the inner game of longevity. The outer game is pretty obvious. Products, protocols, supplements, I mean, huge market. The inner game has a few other different standards and a few different ways of thinking and feeling. Because what we do here, what Jim did in phenomenal way, in new ways, every single time, opened the area of feeling, the second dimension of the inner game. So, oh, what happened? Twice back, okay. Don't get confused with the facts. We know brain is highly overrated in conventional science and conventional personal development. Heart is underrated. What if there would be the whole body included in this longevity game? Because for sure we cannot do it without our bodies. That's baseline. But how much is the role of our bodies, of our physical intelligence? That is the bigger question. I start with the big picture first, okay, and then we go into details. And before we go there, let's do an exercise, because I see already some people glossing over. You know how important it is to have the brain connected? Remember that thing, right arm, left brain? Left leg, right brain? Let's do crosswalks. Are you ready? So, just 10 of each. And while you think about your brain, because it connects left to right, there's a bridge in between. And now we are fully on. I see more smiles in your face. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Thank you. Let's do one backwards. Okay, keep going, yes. Just when you think it's over. Thank you. Okay, so let's start with the paradigm. Longevity, physical immortality is definitely a brand new paradigm, globally. But the other paradigms in place, they need to be stretched, not just replaced. One of them is intelligence, the sacred cow of human culture. Now, we used to be so focused on IQ, but it's only logical, mathematical, and linguistic. It was invented in 1906. It might be a little bit outdated. So what we face right now is 15, probably more, qualities of intelligence as we see it today. And everything is rooted in the body. And that's my point. You cannot be emotionally smart without your body. We take this for granted, we don't, and people are limited. We see the roots, and the roots are as important as this visible part, the leaves of that tree of intelligence. But for most people, it's a revolutionary shift to give away this mental priority to the body. And we actively promote that. Because then the variety of intelligence can blossom and flourish once the roots are in place. And that's why it's so important to remember that. So what is it? It's a variety of things that comes up. Mindset first. Yes, it comes down to we need to re-educate our own brain. What we used to think is no longer valid. It's outdated like Windows 97. So how does that work, educating our brain? Big question mark. Talk to James Stroll. What we do here is nothing short of educating quickly how the brain is serving our bodies, not the other way around. And this is, for most people, a huge, huge shift to do. I started with this mental part on purpose because it's mainly addressing people from the outside who are not in the privilege to be part of this community yet, because they might face all these challenges on their way to their own immortality. So, a zest for life is absolutely important. Of course, people need to want to live. And if they want to live, everything is so much easier. Otherwise, it's a mental battle and cannot convince anybody of anything. That's even not the point. So, curiosity, absolutely. Am I curious, or do I just, I think I know enough now? Fundamental different mindset shift. So these are things where I coach people on, just to open themselves up. Something I never heard before, doesn't scare me, I'm curious about it. Not moving back, moving towards curiosity, towards new information. Let's try out. Let's find out what's true. Let's discuss. Let's debate. Body perception is another big deal. Is my body something I tolerate? I hope for the best? Is something I am worrying about? What is it? What is it to begin with? Is it me? Do I have a body? Or do I own a body? Or do I being a body? So those are simple questions, but they go fundamentally into the deep ingrained thinking patterns of people. And immortality definitely is in the depth of human existence. It's not on the surface. That's why ways I can find to go deeper with people, I welcome those ways in a way that they not only understand, but feel. And that's the magic. What else do we have? Vulnerability, yes. It cannot be an argument about immortality or not. We had this, all of you, we had in the past. Not going to work. But vulnerability with my life. How does that feel right now? How do I treat my knee if it's hurting? Do I think, oh yeah, I'm aging now? But I say, I find something that works for me to reverse that, to encourage the healing powers of the body. Completely different mindset, completely different approach to life. And higher purpose, of course, the day-to-day life purpose is, and there are many, many people now that definitely have a sense for higher purpose. They have a hunger without knowing what it is. They might have never heard the word physical immortality, but they have a hunger for more life. There must be more than this, whatever this is for them. And there is wisdom that is ageless. You know, if you listen to Aurora, she brings quotes sometimes and say, how the hell did you know that? It's definitely ageless. Yeah, you're nodding your head. Wisdom is ageless. Okay? And then it can be an 80-year-old coming out of the blue, an amazing quote or statement. Where does this come from? So it's not just life experience, it's also a wisdom that's innate in the body. It's cellular. And that's what we're looking for in longevity coaching. And then, of course, life experience individually is so different. I'm so glad we are from so different backgrounds, because every single unique person has a unique value for that. And these unique contributions make it also very, very attractive. Okay, so the next step is in the deeper layers, the onion, is totally appreciation for your own life. The innate ability to desire and desire to live. Both is absolutely necessary. We have the ability, we're born like this. Babies don't think about dying. They have an innate desire to live more, to live more, to live more. What happened to this desire? Can we rekindle it? Can we wake it up again? Can we take not just a childlike spirit, but this passionate desire? I want to look forward to that. If I have a cold tonight, I don't care. I fix it and move on and move forward, move forward. So that's a zest for life and also replies directly to this innate ability and desire. There's no discussion necessary. People who are in severe sickness fight for their life because they see unconsciously there's a huge value in me being more alive again and being healthy again. So we get the glimpses, and now it's time to put them together to a big picture. What if we take this desire to life all the way? How strong can it be? How much can it consume our negativity in moving forward? So those are questions that come up when we enter these areas. Then, of course, that program is learned. It's not something you're born with. And then the brainwashing begins, of course, and the layering of death and the similar reactions keeps going. More answers of the value of individual human life, not just in groups, not just in races or genders. Individual life is extremely precious. Now, that's a new concept for most people who don't want to brag about themselves, have a hard time receiving praise. But that's the beginning of individuality, individual appreciation of who I am and who you are. So we see everybody is irreplaceable. And that raises the value, but that takes a lot of feeling and a lot of support to do that. Yeah, and then out of this comes the longer lifespan. Out of a health span, out of a zest for life, out of this desire to live. Now we rattle the main forces of life. Then I want to live longer. Quality first, quantity follows. And last but not least, yes, that's what I just said. Okay, let's go into biology. As you know, my past is biology. I'm fascinated by human life. This cell, picture of a cell, it's the most detailed representation I could find on a scientific level. It's today obtained from radiography, nuclear magnetic resonance, NMR, and cryoelectronic microscopy. So this looks like a miracle. Now imagine we have a lot of those. Okay? This cell alone will perish and disappear with all the miracle it is. But that's our main building block to start our biology. And physical immortality is a biological event. That's why I like to focus on that. So you can see the same image with physical data, and then you can count them, like scientists do, and you come to this incredible number of 100 trillion, 30 to 100 trillion. Nobody in the world can imagine this number. 100 trillion cells. Trillion.
Wow.
If you're a baby, it's only 30 trillion. You can grow into that. So it's absolutely mind-blowing. Nobody can think that large. We might stop at 1 billion maximum. We cannot mentally get it. So mind-blowing right away, just with this number. Is it real? Yes. Do people care? No. What if these cells are all of them vibrant and alive, non-stop, day and night, communicate with each other in 4 different languages: chemical, electronically, photon, and physical touch. And the whole communication is on a genius level. We do not understand it. But that's our matrix for life. Nothing less than that, otherwise it would be a lie. Finally, scientists pay more and more attention to the details, and they see how limited it is what they can do with one small piece of the puzzle. But how important each single piece is to put them together. Absolutely. So science is in flourishing mode right now, and the Radfest will show us new impact and new inputs and new insights from this year. So I prefer the MMM perspective: magic, miracle, and mystery. And yes, the scientific side is the other side of the coin, and nothing is right or wrong. But this deserves more attention, more respect for what's going on in our bodies. Most of all, gratitude. Thankful for my stomach digesting my breakfast. I have no clue how it happens, but it sure happens. Otherwise, it would be in pain. So staying away from pain means shifting over to gratitude. We like that as individuals. Guess what? Our organs like it too. Thank you for healthy bowel movement this morning. Yeah, it's a big deal. If not, I would intoxicate it. If you just think about it, this switch can flip at any time, but the gratitude can be more radical. If there's nothing else to be thankful for, our organs are. I can move my knees today, I can walk, I can talk, I can run, without pain. So it goes on a macro level and on a micro level as well. The science perspective is still caught in the paradigm cause and effect. I change one parameter in my experiment, then watch the causes come out. The tricky part is always more than one cause. Always more than one effect. Because from the scientific point, this is very limited but very necessary. But that's where we are right now in the science. This might change fundamentally with AI. Let me simulate experiments more than performing in the real life. This is the other side. The same cell in biochemical reactions. Can you see what it is? Yeah. That's biochemistry going on in one cell. Does it tell you as much as it does me? Nothing. So you see, from a scientific point, absolute looks like chaos. And it's not. It's extremely well organized, way beyond our understanding. Way beyond our understanding. Does it work? Absolutely. Otherwise, it wouldn't be healthy. We wouldn't smile, we wouldn't sit here. So this MMM approach is different because we get more respect for what's really going on and what a miracle is we sit on these chairs today. Okay, let's do one, I call it physical intelligence. I should rename it immortal intelligence. Because these cells, with this kind of level of intelligence, have an immortal zest for life, biologically. Let's pick a few of the buzzwords lately. Apoptosis, remember what that is? Yeah. Self-death, death cells. So we are so used to the garbage principle that we think they need to leave the body. Babies don't have that issue. They're broken down and perfectly recycled. They're broken down into molecules. They're broken down into amino acids and built for new proteins. Why do we stop? Why do we stop? Inflammation is to do with aging. What is the story behind it? Can we reverse the inflammation? Those are bigger questions. Can we stop apoptosis being a traditional phenomenon right now until we know better? Those are questions that come up when you think the bigger picture. Or regeneration, same thing. If we cut our skin, it regenerates in the heartbeat. We don't even think about it. The liver can grow back 2/3 of its own volume. Other organs can't. Why? Did we lose an ability we all had? Is it something we can re-incentivize in our bodies through whatever life circumstances might be? I see it's just huge research projects for People Unlimited to find out these things. And last but not least, magnesium. I recently got in touch with magnesium personally because I wanted to stop my high calcium scores. So to figure out, calcium and magnesium chemically are very similar elements and the same group on the periodic table. Sure enough, I find out magnesium is involved in 80% of all biochemical reactions in the body. So triggering magnesium has a whole chain reaction in the body. One of them is replacing calcium. Does it work? We shall see. I will measure with my blood test. But these things fascinate me to find out solutions that the body already has in place that just have not been triggered yet, or triggered to the wrong food, or whatever the habits are that we might have built up in the meantime. So those are parts, just 3 short people, because it's very short time I have to present that to you. Just 3 examples where we need to rethink, reevaluate, refocus on our biology. There's potential we're just starting to tap into. Okay, so here's what I do. To break it down into bite-sized chunks, something practical. That is, for clients, I break it down in 6 domains, which means it's not just one magic pill, you know that, not one magic conversation, not one magic supplement. I break it down in 6 essential areas of life. It's like a hexathlon, so to speak. You need to be competing in every single area. One is mental health, of course. Mental health deserves top priority, especially in these crazy times. Emotional health, social health, spiritual health, financial health, and physical health. So clients come in and right away focus on where am I at in these 6 points, 6 domains. And then we have a realistic benchmark where to start from. Because it's all about physical, practical things to do right away. That's what they ask for. So that's the entrance gate, so to speak. Oh, yeah, I have a client I want to talk to you about. How does that work? Click twice? No, just wait, be patient. It's so hard.
So Len, I'm so proud to reconnect with you. You were my first longevity coaching client in 2017. We met during Radfest. And we talked about growing bolder, not older. How does longevity coach?
10 more minutes. That's so generous. Can you take a picture with this background?
So Len, I'm so proud to reconnect with you. You were my first longevity coaching client in 2017. We met during Radfest. And we talked about growing bolder, not older. How does longevity coaching impact your life?
Well, it helped bring some focus. I've always been interested in longevity from a nutrition and taking care of yourself perspective. But obviously, it's much more than that. And our conversations help bring that out. Meaning, it's a matter of how you approach your life, your attitude, your positive attitude is so critical. And working with you and talking to you helped me appreciate better some of the things I was doing, and helped identify some things that I wasn't doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm good for, to show you the blind spots as well.
Yes.
You can fill them with life and then they come to life. What you embody today is this bedrock solid foundation for longevity, the wisdom and the experience, life experience. Nobody can take this away, and you have a hunger to make that just more. And that's the hunger I love about you. Your curiosity is endless. Those are key ingredients for longevity. So thank you for starting this journey with me, and I'm glad I could add some value to your life.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so time to action. Action. So what can you do right away? I love to stay with the most simple way they can do. For example, chew your food twice as much as you want to. Okay? Your stomach will be very thankful because the saliva has amylase, which is an enzyme digesting starches. So if you chew it longer, it becomes pre-digested in your stomach. The stomach has less work. Simple things to do. Does it build the longevity overnight? No. But you chew many times, you chew many pieces of food. It adds up after 55 years. Simple. You wouldn't believe how hard it is to break that habit. Please try and let me know. Okay, so brain hugs, absolutely. Hugging your brain, that's my second exercise, and say thank you for processing 70,000 thoughts per day. For most of you, it's probably 80,000 because you think too much. Just thank you for the brain, because whatever we touch with our hands, we energize. That's why people shake hands, we energize each other. So touch is not only for other people, also for ourselves. Thank you, brain, for being so adamant about it. All right, and then functional moves. We talked about functional patterns briefly. I just want to introduce a few things for you to do immediately. For example, we see over and over again, people get into their 60s, 70s, they show up as a C shape. Like this. Okay, very slow, very gentle, but very irresistible and irreversible, looks like. So what you can do immediately is to lift our chest bone up, not backwards, up. So first of all, the muscles to do so might not be in place in the beginning, it might feel awkward. But if you do it more, you stretch your spine. The more space you create in your spine, the less issues you have with spinal injuries or back pain. So we can do a lot just by these functional moves to make the body 100% functional. Okay? Or standing on your leg, do you stand on one leg only, preferably, or do you change? Are the muscles differently involved? So these simple things to do, let's just be with the straight up neck. Not the neck backwards and forward, that's not what I'm talking about. Up, lifting it up. using these muscles here. That is a way to improve that. Small, little things to do. That's the point. And based on that, the body has to be more functional. So please, if you didn't already, visit functionalpatterns.com, look it up. The guy who invented this is absolutely genius. And he's very exotic, but very genius what he does. He teaches us to stand, to walk, to run, and to throw. Naudi Aguilar is his name. Functionalpatterns.com. So these are 4 things I want to do when I'm 100. I don't care about bench presses anymore at that time. I care about healthy moves and running. Absolutely. That makes me more happy. Okay. Last but not least, understanding in the game. Absolutely. There's a lot we have to do and can do. It's a lot in our power to change our inner games. And the second one, 6 essential domains to get started. To not lose overview, because get a clear orientation, where to start, where to go. And last but not least, build the body first. Kaizen implementation means incremental improvement. Small steps out every day and not backwards. Chewing your food and all the good stuff. These are things we can do by the way. I call it micro victories. If you're steady with drinking water, if you need to drink more water, more hydrated, by all means. And then measure success and measure the micro victories. They count. So, last question I asked, how long do you want to live? Do you have a number in place that pops up? No. Good. If you have, add a plus sign. In other words, leave it open for the mind. Okay? If you said 120, just to pick a number, and you get there at 100, 105, 106, you want to live longer. Not the original mindset decision, it's flexible. Add a plus sign, because longevity in its core is unlimited. It's not limited. Okay, thank you for listening. I'm open for questions. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Otto. That was, no, yeah, keep that one. And can somebody help me with the questions? So we have time for questions in the room and also questions online. So Melinda.
Thank you. Otto, I love it when you present, and you look hot up there, too.
Thank you.
Yeah. I have a question and maybe 2 comments if there's time. The question is, I didn't quite hear what you said you were considering when you started looking into magnesium. What was the reason?
High calcium scores.
Oh, high calcium.
Calcium scores, yeah.
And then you found, what was the link between the magnesium and the calcium?
That magnesium replaces calcium in many, many biochemical reactions. So if you don't have enough, it cannot be replaced. That's why calcium is dismissed and released in the bloodstream, because so much is produced.
Okay.
And to stop this overflow is to balance it with magnesium.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, that's good. That's good to know. I'm happy to know that. And I'll save my third comment for later, but my one comment right now is, you mentioned the cell and the death of the cell in order to regenerate and have new cellular activity come in. And I know you touched on this a couple weeks ago, and I would really like to continue that discussion, because I think, you said babies don't experience that the way we do as we age. But I think that mechanism for having the cell completely be new doesn't necessarily require the death of the cell. It's like, yeah, there's something in me that says there's another way, and I think it's the immortal lineage way, that because having the death of the cell and needing the apoptosis to happen just keeps that evolutionary loop going, where we're just repeating cycles. Whereas if there's an immortal lineage way to have the cell become new without that process, then we're just moving into new, more and more all the time. I'm sorry, I can't scientifically speak to it, but that's my feeling.
It's a genius question. Absolutely. Because as of right now, we do not know the impact of the lineage on our biology yet. We are in very early stages. Personally, I believe this will reverse many biochemical reactions we have in place right now, bound to the life and death cycle overall. Because we get too many messages, die, for years, for decades, subconsciously, they do something to our biochemical reactions. If we get the message over and over again with the lineage and immortal and unlimited living, it does something for our body. I'm very sure about that.
Yeah.
If it's going to be cells that are still dying and being completely recycled, or there's no need for dying cells anymore, I don't know.
Right.
But if we injure ourselves, the cells are killed, absolutely. And they need to be replaced. So regeneration will always have a spot in the biological orchestra, or symphony of the body, but we do not know to what extent. Yes?
Thank you.
Okay, Bruce?
Thank you so much, Otto.
You're welcome.
I was interested in your comment. My first question was about the thing with magnesium. But with your answer, you're saying you're concerned about your calcium scores.
Yeah?
So, and it sounds like your calcium score was too low.
Too high.
Oh, it was too high, okay.
Oh, yeah.
And calcium helps, because you're saying something about replacing, using the magnesium, is it to replace calcium?
Good clarification. No, magnesium is produced in such an abundance if it's out of balance calcium is produced in abundance when it's not in balance with magnesium.
Okay.
That's why it's released, the abundance is released into the bloodstream.
Okay, and then what form of magnesium are you talking about?
Yeah, that's another good question. I take a supplement, Susanna found one with 6 different kinds of magnesium.
Well,
And only one of them enters the blood-brain barrier. That's another part. Okay.
the 3 and 8?
3 and 8 does that.
3 and 8 is the one. Yeah, that's the one that Sandra Kaufman's always talking about.
Yeah. But the other ones are important too, because it happens everywhere.
They go different
Yeah.
places.
Not just, they go different places.
All right, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, we have a question here. Go ahead, Ilana.
First of all, great presentation.
Oh, thank you.
So fun, you're so brilliant. It's great, enriching our life. And then there's also this question about magnesium that wasn't like the biggest thing of your, but a while back spoke about my experience with magnesium, and I feel like I urge all of us to test your magnesium, because like a no-brainer thing. And I don't know if you tested it to find out you had low magnesium, and then you found the supplement through, Susanna found, but are you working with a doctor that's doing this with you?
I worked with Dr. Geyer, and for the first time ever, in tons of blood tests, he tested magnesium.
Yeah.
You need to ask for it.
Yeah, ask for it and make sure, because it's like such a simple thing, so inexpensive. I get a compound magnesium. Like, I've been taking magnesium at least 500 milligram, like, since 15 years. Then I get tested with my naturopath, and I'm low. So he prescribes me from a compound pharmacy, magnesium glycinate, I think, just the one that doesn't upset your stomach, 1,200, like 1,200, which means I was taking 500, but he said, okay, take 1,200. I was like, wow. I was like, 500 is already a lot in my head. And like everything changed when I told you guys about the story of me laying on my left side all the time and feeling my heart, and it stopped immediately. What it says to me is that I was deficient in magnesium in my whole body. And it's known that women, post-menopause especially, suffer from this. And so if you're not getting it tested, get it tested, and no matter what, take some magnesium, because you can't overdose on it, you know, unless you're taking the one that upsets your stomach.
Excellent.
Yeah, I want to make a comment on that too. Thank you, Lana.
Thank you.
Yeah, magnesium has a multitude of benefits, and one big thing, amongst others, like if you take it at night before bed, you'll actually sleep better. Okay, you'll notice your resting heart rate will be lower, which you really want. Okay, it dropped mine when I started taking it, steady. I was about 69 or 70. Now I'm like 62, which is where you be. And so the key thing in that is when you have a lower resting heart rate, less beats, your heart's not having to work as hard, okay? You want that rest for it through the night. And it's an issue that I think, from what I've read, a lot of people who end up having AFib, things like that, the heartbeat is because they've been low on magnesium all that time, and that they don't get enough rest on their heart through time.
Wow.
This is the article I read, and so magnesium it relaxes the muscles, right? And so even if you have AFib or whatever, or any situation like that, you should be taking magnesium. It'll help balance that out too. So it relaxes the muscles, the heart muscle and the blood vessels.
One last thing about this, any kind of cramping you have in your muscles,
Yes.
it's your body screaming, give me some, magnesium and maybe other electrolytes like potassium and sodium. So don't just they say women after menopause, they get a lot of cramping. Well, why? Right? And so don't live with anything. Your body's talking to you and it's so easy to fix.
Yeah. Okay, Otto, so I have a question. So you're presenting this as your longevity coaching program. Can you talk to us more about who is this for? How can they get on it? How long does it last? Because I can see this being really good for somebody that's entering or wanting longevity, but also maybe for people that are already interested as well.
Yeah. So especially for people who are interested in something more, there must be more than this. They dance around longevity, they read a lot about it, but they're not sure how to apply it for themselves. And then they see, if it's actually valuable for me, I have to jump in. It's physically. Do you really want to live physically longer? And these are the people I'm attracting and talk to. We do a questionnaire in the beginning, an intake session, evaluation session first, if it's the right thing for you to do, to go. And then it's a series of half a year with bi-weekly coaching sessions, because everything is long-term. Implementation, come back with information, then we do the next step. And it's completely customized because everybody comes from a different environment. Okay, somebody are sophisticated, developed, and educated with supplements, whole different game. Some people need to wake up to that game, look for a good naturopathic doctor because they're new to this journey. But what I'm excited about, I feed this hunger in people to live longer. And then, of course, the world best community for people to live longer is People Unlimited. Absolutely. Obviously. And they're my guests today. We met 3 days ago. You're a living example. Can I introduce you quickly? She's a hypnotherapist. And we talked about this. At the last 5 minutes, we talked about longevity. They talked about this presentation. She said, I need to be there. So these are people I see they have spontaneous feeling without even thinking it through.
Yeah.
But there's the desire to live.
I have a comment. So going back to the magnesium thing, when I was 50, I had a carotid screening, and my results were not good. And they said, you need to get moving because you're 65. I was like, So long story short, life takes over. But I ended up going on a magnesium supplement for sleeping. And that was the only reason I took it. And I just had a cardiac stress test. And much to my surprise, was found to have 0 plaque. 0. And I was like, And so now this link between, although that's not scientifically proven, there are cases where clearly that magnesium supplement does dissolve plaque. And to have 0 plaque, I was like, wow, that's awesome. And also, magnesium supplement does help you sleep really well.
Yeah.
So that's just an aside.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, we don't have any questions, but thank you again, Otto. That was fantastic. Thank you.